అప్లికేషన్‌లో ఈపీటీ
Hi, Prashant. Able to hear me? Hello. Hi, Adib or Prashant. Is it audible? Hi all. Shrikant, is it audible?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. So let's wait for others to join. Let's give a couple of moments. Okay. Then we can start our training. Hi all, good morning. Welcome to the batch of 150. So I'm sharing my screen. Let me know once you are able to see. You can ping in the chat if it is audible or visible. Hello all. You can ping in the chat, like you can see over here. Anyone. Usha, you can unmute yourself. Hello. Okay. Okay. So you can lower down your hands. No worries. So considering this, we can go ahead. So it is audible. Welcome to the batch of 150C. So my name is Manjunath. I have 5 years of experience as an Oracle developer and Oracle apps and cloud. I have worked with a couple of multiple organizations like Accenture, Infosys, and Capgemini. And so I've started my career as an SQL PLSQL developer, and currently I'm working in Oracle ERP Cloud. Okay. So on this note, let's go ahead. So this and 151 batch, and you can go ahead, like if you have any queries regarding training or any queries regarding to your support within this entire training, you can drop an email to support@logictech.com with the within the subject mention that 151. Okay, so you can mention 151 and then you can go ahead with your queries so that the support team will try to resolve all the issues. So increasing my screen. Okay. So from today it starts like 5th of July, and training will be a 1 hour training from 6 a.m. IST, and for 1 month to 1.5 month, or 1.5 month we can be covering this course. And if you have to talk directly, you can talk over these numbers over here. To any of the numbers you can reach out to for regarding your support, any kind of queries. And if we have to get the course content right away, you can go ahead and scan this QR. Okay, you will be getting entire course content, which we will be discussing and we will be covering through the entire course duration. And for any registrations or payment fees, you can go ahead and scan it over here. So it will redirect you to the payment screen. And like for queries, you can contact the support team. And this first 5-day session will be a demo session. And from 6th session, we will be moving to registered sessions. So only the participants who have registered will be getting the access for the training from the 6th day. And we will be starting the batch starting from like Monday to Saturday, and Sunday will be off. And again, the week starts from Monday. So so that you can go ahead and practice on Sundays. And so and also like we have created a WhatsApp group. Like so we have created a WhatsApp group for any of the queries or any of the support. You can ping over here. So that the resolution will be provided. So we have covered all the possible ways to help the team, like to get all the resolution. Like either you can go ahead and contact us directly, either you can go ahead and drop an email, or from this WhatsApp group, you can go ahead and bring whatever the issues that you have. So the resolution will be provided on the immediate basis. Okay. And So the team will be available from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. IST. So there is no worries, like whatever you can go ahead and practice from any of the time and you can get the resolution. So on this note, let's go ahead with the introduction to our SQL. Just give me 1 minute. I think so. Participants are increasing. And again, like if you have any type of queries, you can raise your hand or you can ping me on the chat. Okay, I'll be providing the resolution. Okay, let's go ahead then. So to the introduction SQL, like we are going with the course of Oracle SQL. Okay, Oracle SQL is a kind of database which stores the data. Okay, prior to Oracle, like prior to database, like we used to maintain files in the form of sheets, like just give me 1 minute. So every data used to follow a sheet format, like whatever we call as a text file here. So notepad. So the data used to be in the form of text, like whatever we mentioned, like name, Manju, age, date, 5th July. So this is how the data used to be stored on the earlier, like back. So what happened then? Thereafter, technology evolution started. So once the technology evolution started, every company started working on the organizing this data instead of in the file format. Data used to be unorganized. So they used to face a lot of difficulties to retrieve the data and fetch the data and use it for other purpose. So then Oracle came up with a solution in 1977. They come up with a solution of database. So like data can be stored into the database in any of the format. Let's say we have an application, front-end application, and also we have a database. Let's say we have a database here, and whatever the data that we are entering in the application front end, data used to directly get and store in the database. So this is an application, front-end application, which usually we see for any of the logins. And once we log in, whatever the data that we provide, it used to dump the data into database. So this data is getting stored in our database in the form of rows and columns. So these rows and columns are organized format, like so that data will be retrieved on an easy basis, and it is a powerful way of retrieving the data for the further use. So this is how the Oracle evolution started. Okay, and let's say my name within this we call as columns. Here the rows data will be entering, like row number 1, row number 2, row number 3. Okay, column, let's say column name is name, serial number, name, age, or anything. Like it can be of any data, like starting from an employee, students, like product details, any of the information. Okay. Here's how the evolution started, and Oracle had started with an version 8. Till version 8, it was an in the development format. So once the development, everything is successful, they have released it for the use to the enterprise use with the version 8. So this was developed by Raleigh Ellison on 1977. And after many upgradations, like there were many upgradations, like when it was released on eighth version, we usage was that not that easy. Like it was difficult. Like whatever we are using now, the database is much more developed and advanced version. So it started with 8i, 8i, 9i, 10g, 11g, and these are I is an internet format. So only in the internets we used to use. Then thereafter grid format, like multiple grids connecting the servers. And after that it evolved. Recently, the evolution started into the cloud format. So whatever the data that we are seeing, we can retrieve that data, whichever we are seeing is retrieved from the cloud. Okay. So now everything is in cloud, database is in the cloud. So there is no need of connecting in the local database. So everything can be connected from the cloud itself. So the data is stored in the cloud and it can be retrieved on the immediate basis. So there are a couple of organizations who have also worked on the database, like along with Oracle. Currently, we are going through Oracle database course. Along with Oracle DB, there are other is database related topics that had been covered and developed. Like one is Microsoft. In Microsoft, they have released a product of SQL Server. This is also a database. Everything looks similar, like Oracle. All the database looks similar. So syntax wise, development wise, everything looks similar. Only thing, like there may be little bit of usage differences. That's it. So rest others remain same. The syntax, mostly the syntax will be same, and then usage will be little bit different. Okay. So along with Microsoft, IBM also developed a kind of database, that is DB2. And other we have like Postgres, Teradata, Big Data. These are a couple of databases that we can see which has been developed and which are in existence. So most popular among most popular all this is Oracle DB. Okay, among of all these, Oracle DB is the most popular one, which is the first one. And also the usage wise, Oracle DB gives a better performance and storage of the data. You can store as much as data as you want with the minimum storage data volume. Okay, let's go with the next slide. So I will not be covering much in the session 1, session 2, session 3, as it will be a starting version. So we will be going through what exactly the SQL and SQL is all about, and where we will be using it, and what exactly the PLSQL is all about, and where we will be using it. Okay, and how we will be storing the data and how it can be retrieved, and all this information I will be going through with in the initial days, so that you will get familiar with the topics, and then we will start with the main course, so that once you are familiar with the basic, what exactly the SQL is all about. So what is the usage of SQL? So why we will be using and where we will be using all this information, I will be giving a clear information. Post that, we will start the main training, so that you will have handy of what exactly the topic is all about. Okay. So Oracle database, as said, this is a very powerful tool to store the data. So earlier, as said, like earlier we used to have text format. Like text format used to be unorganized. Let's say I have 3 employees who are working. So 3 employees have three different type of text files. So this is a file-based data that we will be storing. So let's say I have three employees. Three employees will be storing data in the files, text files. So let's say employee A had stored the data. So this data started with serial number. Okay. Now again, employee B started entering the data, which started with name. Ignore if okay. So it started with name. Employee C started saying that he started with a rank. Okay. So all these data files has the similar data, but data is unorganized. So here it started with serial number and name and then rank, and employee B started with name, rank and the serial number. Employee C started with a rank, name and the serial number. So data is same, but that is not organized. This is an unorganized format of text files. So due to this, data can't be stored in an organized format, which will not be an exact format that we have to retrieve. So if we try to fetch the data of first, whatever the data starting with, whatever this data that is starting from, I need to fetch 10 characters. So the 10 characters will be different here. 10 characters will be different here. The 10 characters different it will be different here. So data is unorganized, due to which retrieval will be will not be that as expected. So this will cause data discrepancy. So for this, we have started with an Oracle database. So Oracle database is an organized format of data, which will be storing the data in the database. Okay. So it is a powerful tool. Oracle SQL is a powerful tool to retrieve the data from a database. So data in a database in Oracle is also whatever the data that we are storing in a database cannot be unorganized. So we have like Oracle has given us a meaningful set of data. Let's say it looks similar to the Excel. Whatever the data that we see in our database, it will be similar to the Excel. So this is how the data, let's say a meaningful data, if we have to store it in the database, let's say here it starts with serial number, then name, then let's say date. Okay. So if we have to store the data, serial number, we have given column names. So for the 3 employees, as said earlier, so we have 3 employees. So we have given this Excel sheet. So Excel sheet, they will be storing in the organized format now. So employee A will start in inserting the data in the serial number from starting from 1 itself, and the name, let's say he have inserted as Manju, and the date is today's date. Let's say 5th of July. And next 2, it started with a name B again. Date will be 5th of July. Now employee, this is for employee A. Okay. Now employee B came into picture. Once his task comes in, he will also have the same sheet. So he will also enter the data. Okay. He will also start inserting the data. So how he will be starting? He will be starting from the serial number itself. So he will start from 1 itself. Again, he will insert the name as some C, date as 5th July. Okay. 2, again, he will insert a date as some XY and 5th July. So if we observe over here, so every data is an organized within the column names. So data can be different. Data, whatever the data that is stored in the database can be different, but it is organized. So due to which we will be calling as a database as a meaningful collection of data in the objects. Okay. So for this, what we will be doing is that we have to create a tables. So we can create couple of tables for storing the data into database. So database usually collects the data and stores the data in the form of database, in the form of tables. Okay. So whatever the data that we are pushing into our database needs to be within tables. Okay. So for that, we have to create a table. So once we create a table, we need to retrieve the data from the table. So for that, we will be using a retrieve commands. Once, let's say, for example, once the data has been inserted into database, now I have created a table. Let's say I have created a table called employee. So employee table has serial number, as said earlier, name, and date. So let's say he is inserting data of an students. Okay. Student one, whatever the data that the employee inserting into the database. So they have to create a table. So once the table is created, the data needs to be inserted into the table within these columns itself. So they cannot go ahead beyond these tables, beyond this column. So let's say again a new table is created. Let's say this is an student data. Now a new table has been created for employee. Okay. So this table student and table EMP employee table. Let's keep it meaningful. So student table and employee table will have a data, like couple of data, like couple of columns. As said earlier, like serial number, name, and date. Okay. Here also serial number, employee name, and date. So the tables that we are using in our database will have a data, like meaningful data, whichever stored in the database can be used for either for inserting, updating, deleting. Okay. So just by inserting, we can't do anything. So I have to retrieve. Let's say, for example, I have a Facebook page login. So I have logged into the Facebook page, or let's say I have logged in. I'm trying to log into the Instagram page, or I'm trying to, let's say I'm trying to log in for shopping like Amazon. So whenever I try to log in, it will be asking for username and password. So have you observed anytime like only by giving exact username and password, it gets logged in. But if you give a random, it will be throwing an error. It will give output saying that the username or password is mismatched. So this is because whatever the data that I said earlier, like we have two application login and the database. So these two will be coordinating each other. So once let's say, for example, I am in Instagram page and I'm trying to log in and put the information over here in the front end. So the data will be going and checking in our database. So it will go and check in our database whether this particular employee name, the particular username and the password is matching with the data that we have exactly within our database or not. So once if it is matching in our database, then it will provide access to go ahead and do the task, whatever we have to do within that application. So all this happens by validating from front end to the database. So there can be multiple servers or application tops like front end, middleware, and a couple of applications like other web-based applications or web-based logins tops will be coming. So let's ignore all those. As we are going through Oracle DB, let's target only on the Oracle. Okay. Let's not confuse with the middle applications. Okay. As said, like we have front end application and I'm trying to log into the site, and I need to do perform couple of tasks. Let's say I need to log into Amazon. I'm trying to provide username and password. So this username and password will be checked from the database. So only if it is matching, it will provide us the access to go ahead and do go ahead and shop, right? So the same way, like every application in the enterprise performs the same. Like once you provide the exact data, then it will go ahead and check within our database. And then if it is matching, then the access will be provided. So this is how all the applications perform. And this is how, just give me 1 minute. Just sorry for that. Let's go ahead. Okay. So now we have got to know what exactly the database, how the data is getting stored. So now I have got to know like what is a front-end application, how once I insert data is going and checking in our database and the data is getting retrieved. So I got to know some information that how it is going and getting the information. Now, let's say once I give username and password, it is going and checking in our database and it is trying to provide me access. So this access is provided by going and checking in our table. So as said, like here we have tables, right? Same way, we will be having credentials date table. Okay, let's say we have another table, which is credentials, where it will be storing username and password and when the last login has been happened. So this information will be stored, whatever the, let's say, for example, a new user or new customer came in, he's trying to push the data. Sorry. He's trying to insert the data, or else he is trying to create. Oh, he's trying to create a new login. So once I create a new login, data will be going and sitting into this credentials table in the format of username, password, and the last login. So let's say I have, let's XY has come into picture. He tried to create he's trying to create username, like his login details in the Amazon page. So he have entered the username and he entered some random password. Let's say 12300. Okay. And last login is today's date. And tomorrow when now we have username and password in our database. Now the same user comes tomorrow when he tried to log in with the name of XYZ, or else let's say XY, and the password is 123. Okay, the password is not matching as in like before. When he tried to register, he have given a different password. Now he is giving a different password. Let's say he is giving 890. So this data is not in our database. Let me give it somewhere else here. Okay, let's say, okay, the data password is not matching, due to which the data can be provided access to the particular XY user. Okay, so this is how the data will be retrieved from the database and it will be providing access to the user. So if the username or password is not matching, it will not provide access. If the data that is there in our database and if it is matching with the information that they are providing, it will provide access. And also, like, every database is fully restricted. So why do we have to use a restricted format of database? So Oracle is fully restricted so that a misuse can't be happened. So if, let's say, earlier, like initial days, let's go back to the initial days. So initial days, we used to have file-based data. So here any employee can come, go, whoever have access to that particular database or a server can go ahead and view these files. Let's say I am storing this data in my let's say I'm storing it in my system. Okay, so I will not be working 24 hours in the organization. So whatever my timings, login and logout timings completed, we will be switching to a different, we will be going back. A new user comes in and new employee comes in. He will try to access my system. And once he try to access, he will be, the data will be visible. So there is no point of having an security over here. So there can be misuse. Okay, so misuse can be happen. So due to which, let's say, for example, this is misuse happen only on the in one area. So misuse can be happen in multiple areas. We can assume the misuse of the wherever it can happen. Let's say if we are not giving proper restriction within our banking domain. So if we are working on a banking domain, if there is no security within our customers data, then that will be an huge flop on the security part. The misuse can happen over there, and it can happen everywhere. Let's say, for example, I am working on an I'm working in an organization. Let's say my employee ID don't have any restriction of don't have any protected data. Okay, I have I have placed my ID card somewhere. Let's say I have went outside for a restaurant, I have placed my ID card, or else I've left it over there. And let's say others have got the let's say someone who have come to that place exactly, they have collected the ID card and they can go ahead and go inside the organization without any restriction. So this is what happens if there is no security provided within our database. So on this note, let's go ahead. So anyone has data? Sorry. Anyone has questions? You can raise your hand. So far, if any questions. Yes, Paul, go ahead.
Hi, Manjuna. Good morning.
Yes. Good morning.
Yeah, I have a question like this is Oracle SQL you're talking about. And I just want to know the difference. So what is this Oracle SQL and PLSQL? And also,
Mhm.
okay, these two, what's the major difference? So,
Okay, so difference between SQL and PL/SQL, I will be going and explaining in the further sessions. But as of now, I will explain. Like, let's say I have written a query in our database. So ignore if others are not understanding. This is just a question for the advanced question that Paul is asking. Okay, which we have not covered it, or which we will be covering in the further sessions. Okay, so I have a query. Let's say I have written a query. You have idea about SQL?
yeah.
Okay, I have my SQL select start from employee. Okay, I've ran in my database. Let's say, let me open from the front end. So let me start my database first. This is an SQL developer where we will be going and writing our code queries. I will explain about this, how to use this tool in the coming sessions. So this is what called as SQL Developer Tool, where we will be writing we will be connecting to our database and we will be going and writing our code. Let's say I have written, or let's say I have written like this. I have created an employee table and I'm trying to retrieve the data from an employee table. Okay. So let's say this table has 20 employees information I'm trying to fetch. Okay. So now let's go. This is an SQL. Okay. Which I have written in an SQL and I'm trying to fetch the data. So if we have to do the same in the PLSQL, so PLSQL will be storing the data, it will be having a proper naming convention. Okay. So if I have written this, there is no name. This is just called as an query. That's it, SQL query. Let's say I am the same way, like if I have to retrieve the data from an employees table, if I have created a procedure, okay, procedure will be having a name. Let's say stored procedure I have given. Okay, I have developed a stored procedure with the name of employee data. So PLSQL has a proper naming convention or a name which has a code, logical code inside a stored procedure. So logical code, let's say it starts with a name of a procedure, then declare, and then end. So I have written the same code. I have written in a logical format, and I'm trying to fetch the data. So into a variable, let's say variable. Okay. Now I have a name saying that. Okay. So name of a procedure, let's say. It's my name of a procedure, employee data. Okay. So if we observe over here, so I have a proper naming convention. I have my logic written inside this. It can be given to any of the employees or it can be used anywhere. Let's say I am using a front-end application. Let's say I'm using a front-end application here. Here. So within this front-end application, to fetch the data from the database, I can, instead of running this code every time, I can hit only on this employee data procedure name, and I can fetch the data. I can retrieve the data from the database. So PLSQL is a procedural language. So it can be used once it is created. It has a proper naming convention, and with the proper data, with the proper logic that has been written to retrieve information or to perform any task. Okay. So whereas here we don't have any naming convention. This is just if I run over here, it can't be, let's say I have 3 employees in my organization. So if I run over here in my machine, it can be run only in my machine. Okay. if employee B comes in, if we have to fetch data from an employee, if he is trying to retrieve the data from an employee, he have to rewrite this code again. Let's say employee B came in. If he have to retrieve the data from an employee, he have to write this code, or if he can run the data, like let's say it has been stored in a file format somewhere, he have stored in his local machine. He have to come back and he have to run this code. So for a PLSQL, this no need of doing all this. Just it can, let's say, and again, like he have instead of employee name, he have given some name for this, and he's trying to run this code. So here he is running, employee B is also running. Whereas PLSQL, he can, instead of doing all this, he can go ahead, execute this procedure over here, and he can go ahead and execute this procedure. There is no need of writing entire logic again. So this entire logic, so here I'm just showing you for demo like 5 or 6 lines, but it usually it will be having of 100, more than 100 lines. Okay, so writing 100 lines, it is a waste of time, right? So this data will be stored in the form of in the stored procedure in a particular naming convention. So this is already stored in our database. So you just no need to write any of the code again. You just use this code. That's it. So this is where a PLSQL and SQL comes into picture. Okay.
Okay, sir.
It is a structured query language, whereas a PLSQL is programmatical language. Okay, which will have in proper naming convention, which will be stored in our database and can be used for the further usages. Instead of rewriting or doing all the modification, you can go ahead and retrieve it, and you can use it you can give it to any employees or in any way, any area in your application. Okay, this is the difference.
Okay, yeah, here the no
Yes.
Oracle SQL we can use in the Oracle database.
Yes.
So it's like the same, the PLSQL as well. No, we can for querying or using in the same database, or PLSQL has a different database.
No, in the same database itself. Once you are connected to one of the database, I will explain all this. So
okay, that's fine, sir. Okay, I just thought of just get to understand.
No worries. I will explain in the further session, because most of the students like here looks like I've gone through that, like most of them are beginner levels, so I don't want to confuse them. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
The process for your understanding. Let's say I will be connecting to the particular server here. Okay. Here I have connected to the local host, and usually in the enterprise or any organization, you will be connecting to the server. Okay, as said, like earlier I have said, right, this is a cloud-based database that we are dealing currently. So here, so currently we are going with 19C and advanced is 22C, but this is a little bit complicated to install. So for most of our students, we are recommending 19C. So once you reach out to our support team, they will guide you how to install and start using this application. Okay. So once you connect to one of the server, you can go ahead and run SQL queries or PLSQL or any type of activities can be performed within that server. So if you have to connect to different server, then you have to go to the different connection, and then you have to retrieve. But SQL and PLSQL, there is no need of connecting to multiple servers. So within a single server, you can go ahead and retrieve the data, or you can perform your task.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Any other questions? No worries, you can go ahead. This is a demo session and it is a first session. You can go ahead and ask. Raise your
No,
hand.
no, sir, I'm done with that.
Okay, no worries. You can mute. Yes, Siddiqui.
Yeah, I also heard about the NoSQL.
Mhm.
So, what is the difference between these three? And these three mainly are used, I guess, SQL, PLSQL, and NoSQL.
Mhm. So
So, I
there is
wanted
no
to know about NoSQL. Yeah.
yeah, there is no much difference. Like only thing usage wise, there is a difference. That's it. But rest other the same. But there will be like as it is a different product, as there will be a little slight difference with the syntax. But like you can go ahead with any of the product. You will the usage wise like there will be difference, but syntax and the way that it runs will be same. Like every database will be stored in our database in the form of tables in rows and columns itself. So there is no much difference. So as it is, let's say if we log into Flipkart, we have a different UI. When we log into Amazon, we have a different UI. But
Okay.
as per the usage, like both are same, we will be using for shopping itself, right?
Okay. Yeah.
That's it. There is no much difference in both of them.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Okay, then on this note, let's go ahead and I will, what I'll do is that I will walk you through the slides. Okay. So that whatever we discussed will be touching here and there. Okay. As said earlier, like we have Oracle DB, SQL Server, and IBM also have come up with their database product, that is DB2, Teradata, PostgreSQL, all this like NoSQL is also a database itself, but there will be slight difference with the syntax, but rest others same. And as we said, like for shopping and all, we will be going and creating our login details. The data will be stored in our database in the form of rows and columns. And relational database management. Let's say I have earlier I have discussed, we have discussed like students, employees, and credentials. So in the database, we are storing the data in the organized format, like database management system. Every data will be an organized format. So what if I have to retrieve the data? Let's say let's say if I have to fetch the data from student and employee, so relation needs to be maintained. So in the recent, all the database are coming up with the relational database management system, RDBMS. Okay, so that there is no need of running only one table, or if I have to retrieve the data from a student, or if I have to retrieve the data from an employee, I don't need to write two queries. Okay, with this single query itself, I can go ahead and retrieve the data with the help of relationals. Yes, Siddiqui, go ahead. Hello.
Hello. Sorry, I didn't raise. It was by mistake.
Okay, it's okay. No, let's go ahead. That's fine. So now we got to know what exactly relational database management system is all about. So it is a relation from multiple tables. If we have to retrieve the data from a couple of tables, then we are creating a relation and we are trying to retrieve the data. That is called as a relational database management system product. So all currently every product which is related to database are coming up with RDBMS itself. Okay. So for, let's say, for example, I have, let's say I have, let me take a new sheet. Okay. Now, let's say, for example, I have created a database. Sorry, just ignore. I have created a database and I have created a second database. I have created a third database. So let's say I have inserted the data in a database A. Just by inserting, let's say, for example, I'm using a Google. So I have storing all my data in my cloud, like Google Drive. So just by storing the data in the Google Drive, will this sort my need? So my data, my need is not enough, right? I have to go ahead and view it for the further purpose. So I have to use it. If I have to delete it, I need to have access to delete. So all these will be happened in the database by DDL commands or DML commands. Okay. So whenever any user has been created, admins will be giving access to that particular users, what kind of task that they can perform within a database, either while inserting, user has got a permission. So if they have to delete, user needs to get permission. If we have to modify or update, they have to given with an update permissions. All these permissions will be given from the admin team to a particular users. So just by inserting all this, like how to create, so inserting data, it's an SQL will be a day-to-day English itself. So however we use in our day-to-day activities or whatever we communicate, the database will be communicating with us in the same format. Like if I have to insert, we will be calling as insert. So the same terminology has been used in our Oracle insert itself. If I have to delete a file from an Oracle, from an cloud drive, let's say I have inserted my file, I need to delete it. So we can delete it with the delete command. Okay. If I have to modify or update anything, we can go ahead and use the update commands. Okay. So within this slide, if you notice here, just give me 1 minute. This slide notes everything, whatever the task that we perform in an SQL. Okay. So here, if we go through this slide, most of our SQL queries or whatever the information that we have to do within our SQL will be resolved. So for any creation of anything, we will be doing DDL, data definition languages. So create is called a data definition. So which says that it is an auto commit. So once you create a table, it will be, the table name will be auto committed. Let's say if I have to modify anything, insert, or if I have to insert, update or delete. So this comes under data manipulation language, which is user needs to explicitly commit once the operation has been done. Let's say I have inserted the data. So once I have inserted, I need to explicitly go ahead and commit. Only then data will be stored in our database. Okay. So I will explain, like we will be walking through one by one command, and we will be walking through one by one scenarios, and where exactly we will be using all these we will be discussing in the further sessions. So for now, let's just keep in mind that what exactly database and what are the tasks that we will be doing here. Okay. So this shows everything. Most of in any organization, any employee will be performing these tasks itself. Like either they will be creating a couple of tables, most of, I mean to say, not only this, they will be doing other tasks as well. Just but this will be the major portion. Like let's say 60% of the SQL or PLSQL developers will be performing these tasks. Either they will be creating, they will be inserting, updating or delete. They will be trying to retrieve the data. Either they will be committing or rollbacking the data. Either they will be providing grants and revokes on any tables. Okay. So all this we will be discussing in further sessions, and we will be going through every topic without missing anything, and with all the scenarios like real time, what exactly, how, when I was a fresher, what the task that has been done. Okay. At an entry level, what is the task that we will be doing, and for the standards, like for any organization, what exactly the employers will be expecting from a developer. All this we will be discussing one by one with a meaningful conversations. Okay. So as this is a demo session, I didn't